Hi, Kat Chelsea with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I wanted to show you how I put together this card right here using the Sparkle of the Season stamp set. I have all the colors that you're going to need. We're also going to do some embossing. It's really not that hard, so let's go ahead and put this together. So we're going to need some ink colors, and we're going to start out with soft sea foam, and then for our leaves we're going to have cherry cobbler, terracotta tile, and bumblebee. We have some pieces that we're going to stamp with early espresso, but we're also going to do a little bit of embossing because I want to show you. You can see how there's a little bit of dimension that we get when we do some embossing. I have some copper embossing powder, which you're going to use, and we're also going to use some clear embossing powder. So that means you're going to need your Versamark and a heat gun. I'm using a piece of soft suede. This is going to be my base card, and it's at 5.5 by 4.25. And then just a nice piece of Whisper White, and this is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. So that is what we're going to be stamping on. Now for stamps, we're going to pull out this little stamp right here. And you can see it's just a little thing. So we're going to take just a little block, just this, and I think this is an A block. We're also going to use this stamp here, the circle stamp, and I need a great big block, like it's an E block, so we're going to use the E block. I'm also going to use this little stamp, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it on this block. This is just kind of this little piece right here, and this is on a B block, but I may switch it over from the K block. But I have my stamps and I have my blocks. So let's go ahead and put these aside. I'm also probably going to be using this sentiment here for my card, but we will put this aside. And I'm going to pull in my stamping piercing mat, and I'm going to have my silicone sheet because I'm going to do stamping with photopolymer stamps. So whenever you use photopolymer stamps, it's always a good idea to use your stamping piercing mat. So the way we're going to start out is we're going to grab this very light soft sea foam, and I'm going to ink up this circle, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp kind of where I want my wreath to be. And it's right about there. I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside. Then I'm going to take my lighter color, which is going to be Bumblebee, with my little leaf stamp. I'm going to start stamping this around. Kind of stamping around my circle here. I'm just moving it around. And there we go. Now I'm going to clean that off. Grab my terracotta tile, and in between where I've stamped my bumblebee, I'm going to just kind of place these stamps, and you can kind of see through, so you can kind of see where I can kind of land these right between kind of right between where I've stamped some of the bumblebee ones. Since I'm using photopolymer, I can kind of look through my block and I can kind of see how I'm stamping that right there. Okay, so that's kind of like my first layer. Now I'm going to grab my cherry cobbler, and I'm just going to do the same thing. And I'm just kind of grabbing my cherry cobbler, and I'm going to kind of go on the outside and a little bit on the inside. Kind of going on the outside. I'm trying to catch in between. Now, if it's a little lopsided, what you can do is you can just grab the corner of your, grab a corner leaf and just, I'm just kind of inking up this one little corner leaf here. And I'm going to kind of balance out my, my wreath. And then I'm going to grab, I'm going to open up my, again, I'm just inking that one little corner, inking that one little leaf corner right there. And I'm kind of filling in if I have some gaps, so I can kind of balance this out a little bit. Okay, do you see how that's kind of balancing? And then I'm going to go ahead and now what happened is that I do have some ink right there. And the way I could have gotten around that is I could have masked that a little bit better, because I'm working a little bit fast. So you can always mask to see, and it's getting just a little bit less. Okay. Now I have a plan for these that are there, but that's that's round enough. I mean, if I wanted to, I have my terracotta tile. I can use all three, and I can just kind of bring that around and fill that in a little bit. Fill that in a little bit better. Okay. So now that I've done that, I'm going to just kind of turn it like this. And if it looks like it's a little bit, let's add some more. Let's kind of look at it and see. I'm going to grab this little one right here. gonna finish stamping it right there. Okay, so that looks pretty round. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it's a wreath. It's supposed to be natural. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I want to add some Versamark. So I'm going to take my Versamark out here, and I'm going to switch off into this stamp here. Now I'm going to pull it off and put it on the smaller block because I'm going to have more control. Now it has a stem, but I'm not going to use the stem as much as I'm going to use just kind of like these little pods. They look like little pods. Now I have to get my embossing buddy. Here because I'm going to go ahead and now what I want to do with this is I want to cover some of these areas that I may have gotten some extra color in. Okay, I'm just going to bring that in so you can see. So I'm just kind of doing about that much, just kind of the tip of my stamp, and I'm just going to kind of line it up to where I may have had some other color. Say, you can kind of see where I've done that, and that's going to kind of cover up some of that. And it's also going to kind of help to kind of even out our wreath a little bit. So I'm just going to go around. And since the bottom of my stamp doesn't have any Versamark, I'm just kind of making these poke out just a little bit around, and I can kind of see where I have these. And I may want one more, like right there. Okay. So I just want to kind of show you, you can kind of see a little bit and how I kind of use them to cover up my little spots there. Now I'm going to grab my copper embossing powder, and we're just going to go ahead and put that on there. Okay, so you see how pretty that is? Now, what I want to do is I want to take my leaf, and I'm going to put some more embossing powder on this because I'm going to use the Versamark again, and I'm going to stamp kind of inside my wreath with just the clear with the Versamark, because what I'm going to do is we're going to use our clear embossing powder, and it's going to create a nice definition kind of texture around our wreath. You can see I got that all the way around. And I can go around again. Okay, so I've got nice coverage. All right. So now let's bring back in our embossing powder, and now I'm going to use the clear embossing powder. And we're going to layer it nicely with the clear. And you can kind of see how I have this powder. Let's go ahead and put this away. Now you can kind of see where the emboss part, it actually kind of pulls up some of that, like the cherry cobbler, it kind of pulls it up and makes it a little bit more vivid. But it gives it a really nice sense of depth. You can kind of see, do you see how it's kind of pulled up that there you can see how it kind of, it's the leaves, but then where it covers any of the cherry cobbler, it's got like a nice bright color, and that's really kind of what we want to do. And now we're going to finish it up. So we're going to put this on a piece of soft suede. And I kind of like to keep this simple. So all I'm going to do, since you can see that I really like how nice that kind of covered up, is I'm just going to stamp my sentiment right there. Let's stamp this first. And I want to stamp my sentiment, which is going to be grateful right here. Here it is. And I'm going to do this in copper as well. So let me just go ahead and put this on a block. Very nice little block. This is a nice little G block. And I'm going to put grateful right there. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to grab something before I do anything else. I want to clean my fingers very well and get off any kind of ink that I have on my fingers. Okay, because what I want to do is I want to hold this and I'm using this tool just to kind of rough up this edge. There, and it kind of gives it a really nice, it's going to give it a very nice kind of look right there on our card. And so you can kind of see how nice that's going to, see how that's going to look. It's going to look nice. And in order to set it off a little bit more, and I want to set these up on some dimensionals here. I think that'll look really nice. Okay, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Some of these little pearls here. I forgot that. So go ahead and pull in some pearls. Right here, what I want to do is I just kind of want to fill in some of these blank spaces. Kind of these open spaces here. Around our wreath. Oops. There we go. There we go. See, doesn't that look pretty? You can really see the embossing and how it kind of makes that pop. And then you have your little pearls around there. I think that was the perfect touch for our card. And these are just the metallic pearls. I think they're in the catalog. All right, so let me go ahead and pull back out. And there you go. So this is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this card, please leave a comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back with another project on how to use the Sparkle of the Season set for this fall. Have a great day.